Welcome to Mediumship Moments with psychic medium Kim Durham. Join her as she shares her personal journey with mediumship, connects with your loved ones, and discusses topics dealing with spirituality.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mediumship Moments. I'm your host, Kim Durham, second gen psychic medium, and I'm thrilled to have my paranormal investigator with me.
Hi, guys. I'm Aubrey.
And we're here to talk to you about an investigation that we did recently at Fort Mifflin. Now, this place is known historically for a long history of both occupation and paranormal activity. So, where is Fort Mifflin? It's in Pennsylvania. It's right by the airport, and it was started to build it in 1771. They kind of ran out of money. The United States did, and it wasn't until Ben Franklin got some people together for money, because the Quakers who settled Philadelphia were, pacifists, so they didn't believe in having that kind of encampments. So lo and behold, they build it, and this place is just amazing. It's right off the Delaware. Fort Mifflin. It's a strategic place that the United States saw because if you put garrisons, guns, overlooking the Delaware, it would be hard for the British or anyone to invade Philadelphia. That's why it was strategically so important. They built this place, and it was used to hold armament for various wars. Now, one of which, what was important about this place, was that for 6 days, the United States band of our army, I'll call it that, um, thwarted the English invasion of bringing naval ships up the Delaware to resupply their British troops during the Revolutionary War. For 6 long days, they withheld the occupation of Fort Mifflin, the Revolutionary uh, troops. That was enough time for Washington to get his troops from Philadelphia up to Valley Forge. And we all know what happened at Valley Forge. Well, just a little side note there, little proud moment. Washington crossed the Delaware on a Durham boat. Yeah, uh, just I thought it was cool. So here we are, Fort Mifflin, right? And the war rages on, the Revolutionary War. We're going to fast forward through a couple wars and talk about what Fort Mifflin was used for and why it's so active. Okay.
So it was actually used to house prisoners at that time. While doing our research, we did note that 3 men were executed on the property. Three, no names.
I told Aubrey. The one that was hung, they sold tickets to. That gentleman was a deserter. He took a bunch of Civil War soldiers and tried to make an escape. And he was a Union soldier. So they got him for desertion, all kinds of stuff.
For the paranormal side, they call a figure that's been seen the faceless man. Records show they don't have an exact name. However, they believe that he is the person of interest that people see called the faceless man roaming around the grounds.
Yeah. And he was Confederate or he was up for murder. I found his name, William Howe. All right. He was a Union Army accuser who tried to escape from Fort Mifflin. They moved him from Fort Mifflin to Penhurst. I know that's another scary place.
I've been there. That's another.
We'll be heading there next. She's going to take her mother there, and yeah, the fun things we do for mother-daughter days out. But nonetheless, they bring Hal back from Penhurst, and they actually sold tickets for his public hanging. And
that was entertainment back in the day.
Yeah.
You got to realize there wasn't a whole lot going on. Either, a marriage, maybe a wedding, but the hangings were more popular, I guess.
And he is claimed to be the hooded man that they see.
The faceless man.
The faceless man roaming about. So then we move forward after the Civil War again. Think about this. Think about brick buildings that are foot thick, that are kind of like, for lack of a better word, an igloo. You zigzag to get in. And these casements were where they they made cannon armament, the bombs. So that way, if it blew up while they were putting it together, can you imagine that, Joe? It wouldn't blow up into the soldiers, it would blow away. And that great thinking for that.
And this fort's seen a lot of action in the sense of it's still the oldest fort used in US military.
Right.
Yeah, because you said that it was active all the way up until 1962.
Which was for the Korean War. Decommissioned it, gave it to the city of Philadelphia, but the Army Corps of Engineers still house and have an active part of the fort. So as we go through World War One, it was right across from the shipyard where they would house again armaments, bombs during World War Two. Uh, and and they would move troops over there for their deployment out to California. It was decommissioned and it started its restoration back in actually 1962. It was really cool because the a couple of the buildings were destroyed by fire or have had damage. Think about it. This place has been there since 1771. Uh, but they're restoring it. It's a really cool place. If you've ever it's off of Hog Island Road. I mean, depending on when you go, but the hardest part was the planes coming in and out.
We went in the afternoon on Thursday, and everybody was coming into Philly that day. So those airplanes, definitely when you're recording, trying to navigate that
was the greatest challenge. To time our questions over the flight path, and it got to really get quiet until after 6 o'clock.
we pretty much had the place to ourselves. It was just us and the retired couple.
Who was the guy that found? So there was an unearthing of. They're still finding a lot there. Okay, in some casements, there's had etchings, graffiti written by soldiers, prisoners, wine bottles, a penny left behind from 1864 preserved. Um, Wayne, who was that gentleman who found in 1996, was it? He was mowing the lawn, the story has it. And what happened?
Oh, every day when you're just mowing your lawn and all of a sudden you find a sinkhole that you think is a sinkhole and really it was a cell. So when Wayne was mowing his lawn, doing the groundskeeping at the fort, that's exactly what happened. They thought it was a sinkhole. However, when they investigated, they found a whole other compartment, casemate 11, a few years ago. And they are finding out that in that casemate specifically was solitary confinement, little tight corners, little tight spaces where they housed more prisoners, which opens the conversation of how many prisoners were kept here. They don't really have an exact number. They just know that, oh, they're just finding new things. An interesting moment found on accident. And it's just a part of history that you have to commend people that are just every day doing groundskeeping work and then suddenly they find a relic underneath. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. So
I'll move forward real quick from World War One and Two. They like I said, held troop there, casements, armaments, the Navy Yard is built around it. And again, we're talking hundreds of years of energy there, right? Influence. People, there hundreds of people have died there. It was also used during the cholera. So, the early 1900s. There's thousands of people who have died on that site. They're finding tombs to this day, bodies that are reinterred elsewhere. I want to get into what we found, right? Because it was really neat.
Y'all are here for the spooky, although we love a good history moment. And
history. It's important. It's important you know the history behind the place, so that makes sense about what we're about to tell you. We headed in.
First, we headed into the soldiers' barracks. That equals about 7 rooms, held up about 25 men, built in the 1790s.
It's a long building with an open porch area.
A lot of bunk beds, zero privacy.
Yeah, there's fireplaces on each side. We went into the infirmary, which was that little space, and they had some of the medicinal herbs that they were using to treat people. But it's interesting, we go full circle that the homeopathic side of medicine of what we're using now, they had used back then. So we set up our equipment and got ready to go into the soldiers' barracks. And what happened there, Brie?
So we used definitely different equipment. We love testing the waters when we go. No pun intended. We are near the Delaware River, but we did use a couple of our equipment, which was our voice recorders, our REM pods, and also our spirit box.
What's this?
A REM pod.
Yeah.
Basically, what it does is any type of electromagnetic difference in the air. For instance, if they believe that spirits can conduct energy, and when the temperature drops or if there's a static in the air, spirits tend to communicate through that pod. It detects that there's warmer temperature or different temperature change in the atmosphere, so that's how we're able to communicate with spirits. So we were able to use that.
Yeah, it was really cool. In that one space, because there's 2 barracks.
There's a lot of ground to cover. And what we like to do is you just want to sit in the space, get a feel for it, and ask questions. You know, in the soldiers' barracks, there have been claims that women are surprisingly not welcomed in the soldiers' barracks. So typically, women have a little bit more of a spookier time. What do I mean by that? Last time I was there by myself, I was told to get out by a voice. Women claim that they've been touched, or they're just simply told to just stay out. So here's 2 women just walking in, and they're like, "Hey, boys, hey, coming to crash the party." So already there, we would be considered a trigger object.
Yes, we were a trigger object.
So trigger objects are objects that are used in paranormal investigations.
To elicit a response.
With trigger objects, it could be um, a pipe that was used. The soldiers love to smoke tobacco, so there was a lot of pipes. There's a lot of trigger objects already there that they found on the grounds to elevate the energy. So when you put 2 women in a room who back then only officers had their families on premise, the soldiers were probably feeling a little homesick. And here we come walking in and be like, hey boys, for little crashing. But so I already knew that
This was not told to me ahead of time. I just want to say.
tell her everything.
No, she doesn't. So
What's
she
the
just
fun in that?
had some fun experiences there, and I appreciate that. She didn't want me to be tainted, to have some preconceived, feelings about it. And I like to go into a place cold. I don't know any history of it. I do this afterwards because I want to see what we elicit. So when we went in, we had the voice box, we had the REM pod, and then we had cat balls.
It's a little light up there. Yeah. The toy. Those
The cats use that shit. It lights up when it's motion activated, and these things went off. We put them over by the
fireplace.
fireplace. Right,
Mhm.
there's 2 fireplace on each end.
Yeah.
One to the left side, and by the bunk beds. And there was a table there. We had our voice recorder there.
And at this point, broad daylight, middle of the afternoon, we're asking general questions like, is anybody here with us? Would anybody like to touch the REM pod, make the light go off? Just kind of opening and welcoming our communication and just actually just sitting in the space. And during that time, we used a spirit box, which also communicates with spirits via AM and FM signals. So it just streams through, channeling through the signals, and
So spirit picks those words out of those channels, so to elicit a response.
as we were sitting there, we were asking predominantly any soldiers here willing to speak with us. What happened to you? How did you cross? We got responses through the spirit box was get lost or got lost.
Yeah, we weren't sure. We kept playing back, but
Yeah, I think it said got lost. A spirit by the name of Jeffrey came through.
Yeah.
He was he was strong.
he was a bit of a chatty
Yeah.
fella.
Chatty Cathy. During that whole time, and we're getting these communications, we're getting these responses. After that, I found it very interesting because while we were recording, I noticed footsteps. We both heard footsteps up above. I heard footsteps up above. Now there are rooms up above.
Where there was just bunks, just layers and layers, a hallway of bunks.
However,
left
it
and
is not open to the public. So now
Go ahead. Sorry, I'll stop
he's
helping.
very excited.
Yeah.
So while we're recording and there's a lot going on, we're trying to communicate with the spirit that's with us now while also being engaged with everything around us. So as we're sitting there, the whole time I am hearing, now I didn't say anything to her until later. I'm hearing footsteps. What am I hearing? I'm hearing boots. I'm not just hearing sneakers on hardwood floor. I'm hearing boots on wood, faintly, but walking across. And I didn't think anything of it until we started finishing up our recording in the.
In that time,
Yeah.
In that time, we were talking back and forth to Spirit. Jeffrey was being chatty.
Very
He was
chatty.
telling them, yes.
Get lost, ladies.
I died here. And he's having a conversation. Then I'm asking Jeffrey another question, and Aubrey turns her head and does this, and we have the recording going, and that's what we played it back. Aubrey goes, "Did you hear
Footsteps.
Because it happens that quickly that you have to hit, when you're on the record, go back and listen. And we do have a small speaker with us that helps amplify. But, we had the groundskeeper mowing the lawn, and it took a little bit of time. But so then Aubrey went and asked Craig, the director.
So we were coming out of the soldiers' barracks, and all of a sudden, I see the ground. I don't see any more groundskeepers. So they're off in the corner somewhere. All of a sudden, Craig, who is the director there, lovely gentleman. Hi, Craig. He was so excited for us to be there and very knowledgeable and loves when people come and visit. It is donation based. So, every donation counts here, and to keep this a national landmark. So Craig, he was just walking by. It wasn't like he was waiting for us. He was just walking through. I said, "Hey, Craig, quick question. Was there any maintenance crew upstairs?" And he goes, "I don't think so, but let me check on that." And he started walking around the corner. He pops his head out and he goes, "No, it was roped off.
Knock on the door.
And it's locked." And
the steps.
Right. And he's like, "There was no maintenance crew." He checked with everybody. He goes, "Nobody was upstairs." And that is the first half an hour of us at Fort Mifflin. And I knew right then and there we were going to have a fun time.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of chill up the spine. I was like, they're just coming to say hello.
Yeah.
So we moved past that. We were trying to do an investigation in the officers' quarters. However, it did suffer a fire, and it is being rebuilt as we speak.
Yeah.
So a lot of the rooms aren't ready for the public. So after that, we hit the commandant's house.
Yes.
Yes, we went there. We also went to the blacksmith's area.
That's the oldest, that place.
Which is interesting. And I will say this, it's very interesting when places claim of different areas of being hotspots. And when you go there and you don't get a specific paranormal event, because I have to tell you, and this is like after I did my research, the blacksmith's quarters has been known to be really very active. Well, where you hear the banging, you hear the metal. And when we went, it was very solace.
It was active where the bee's nest.
Yeah, there was a bee's nest, but it's fine. But so I found that very interesting that when you go to these places where there might be predominantly a hotspot to other people, isn't the same for everybody.
I picked up some of the objects and listened, and unfortunately, we didn't elicit any responses on the REM pod there. We moved on.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these areas are under construction or restoration. There's a big push for the blacksmith house. I think that was built in 1812.
Yeah.
One of the oldest original buildings there. And gosh, does it need some loving care. So,
but things did start to pick up.
Yep.
Again.
After lunch.
Apparently. Had a little nosh. And then we went to the Powder magazine, which I had a personal experience there prior that I didn't tell this one. I like to keep it fun. I like to keep it fresh.
Mom's out there. You don't share either.
As soon as we walked in, I felt just immediate memories, and it is a spooky little place.
Talk about going down and
talk about like a brick archway. You're just walking down this zigzag tunnel.
Can't see where it goes.
No lights. And mind you, midday afternoon, sun is shining, not a cloud in the sky.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous day. We're just walking in this brick, dark, dank powder magazine.
Yeah.
No lights, big open dome, echoey, spooky, spider webs everywhere.
Now, one thing I wanted to talk about. So Aubrey went first. She was the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, no, Aubrey volunteered to go first.
I had the camera.
She had,
I
oh yeah,
knew everything.
she had the camera. She goes, "You want to go?
I had the millimeter of it, right? So that picks up again temperature changes, EMS signals. Okay, and as soon as Aubrey broached the zigzag and went into the open space, boom, 8.6. I was like, and I know the recording of the video that we have, you'll see it spike. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I was blown away. Now, there was a light there. I did check and it raised it only to 1 point.
The base reading was 0.8, not an 8.6.
Yeah, not an 8.6.
0.8 out of the base reading, which is not that much.
So we put the REM pod in there.
Mhm.
You had the voice box.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did a little bit, but I kind of just wanted to be in the space in quiet. It's one of those spaces that you just have to be consumed, not to sound morbid, consumed in the darkness. And to me, mom's like, "Do you want to go first?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Volunteers tribute. So we walk in there, immediate static. Shortness of breath. I was like, this was the place when I visited myself where I heard somebody say, "Get out." Stern like that, not a
Never shared this with me. Not a word.
again, funky, fresh.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm filming this, and Aubrey's saying that she can feel the static electricity, and I'm trying to see orbs around her because I can see it kind of looked like the light. And then go on about what happened.
So, immediately my hair, I could just
Well,
feel.
we put the voice box on
We
at this
did,
point because
we
the
did.
energy was rising so much.
Mhm.
I said, let's see if they're here to communicate.
I definitely was feeling like I was getting touched behind my leg. Oh,
Ooh,
that was one thing we forgot to talk
what
about
did we forget?
at the soldiers' barracks, your shirt.
Yeah, someone tugged my shirt from behind, and I was just like,
I noticed a little indent in her shirt,
Like
looked
someone
like
lifted.
went like that.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
just a little
pretty.
little pull.
Someone,
So that happened.
yeah.
How can we skip through that?
Oops.
So back to what we were saying.
Definitely-
It's like, hi, get lost, ladies. So back in the Powder magazine, we put the spirit box on, and I'm just feeling this static. Now my hair was down, clipped back. I have pretty long,
Split the low out. She looked fat. I'm just saying.
dry shampoo. Who?
Yeah.
She had told me that she saw orbs behind me, and the energy was just lifting. So we put on the spirit box, and it was running through the AM FM channels, streaming through, and all of a sudden I hear on the spirit box, "It's bouncy."
Oh, Aubrey turned around and she goes, "Oh, you're touching my hair?"
Yeah,
And then on the spirit
it
box,
says, "It's bouncy."
it's bouncy. We went,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
that was pretty cool.
that kind of put a little bit of levity to the because I was a little. Listen, I am not immune. Adrenaline is adrenaline at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So when you're entering these spaces, your heart rate starts to, it's no matter how many investigations I've done, I'm a little spooked. And the whole time I'm, getting touched and you can't leave the space. I don't want to ever leave the space because you're getting activity.
And we're always respectful though when
Yeah.
we go. We introduce ourselves. We're not there to antagonize. We thank them for their service and their sacrifice.
Yeah.
And if they'd like to communicate, that's fine. If they don't, if they want us to leave and they touch something to a yes, no, yes, we'd like you to leave, we're respectful. We go. But it was really neat down there because you could feel the energy build, the millimeter showing spikes. I can see streaks of energy behind her. And then we get and Aubrey goes, "Oh, you're touching my hair now." Because she put down her cast.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "Oh, you're touching my hair now." It's Betsy. And I was just like, that is not Aubrey. Who is that? That is cool.
Yeah, very cool. And I think what made this space a little bit extra special was because it was enclosed. We don't have the outside distractions. Then you didn't really hear the plane go by. You didn't hear anybody. There was nobody walking in, walking out. It was very enclosed experiment.
So there's a lot of energy there in that site. The casemates were there, the soldiers that were kept in solitary confinement. There was a lot of sadness there. There's a lot of, imagine that, the dysentery that went on, cholera outbreaks. I mean, the sacrifices that the women, they were there with the officers, their children. that were born and died soon after. There was a lot of heartache in that place, and so we're respectful of that. And but really, just a cool place. The type of activity that we got.
Every time I've gone there, I've had a different experience. I'm very happy when I go back to a spot. It confirms it for me that you have to have that sort of realization, like, this is real, this is happening, this is confirms that what I saw the first time or heard the first time, it's there. It's
Not a figment of your imagination.
Right. And I think that's coming with years of doing these investigations. I'm very much still a skeptic sometimes when I walk into a space. That's why I personally like to learn a little bit about the history before I walk into a space. She's a little bit different. But we come together at
Which
the
is
end.
nice.
Yeah.
You'll have the history of it, which blends well for us doing it. So Aubrey's wearing the PSI, Psychic Studies and Investigation, our psychology group that did paranormal investigations with my mom back in 1974. We have actual pictures of my mom ghost busting at different locations and what she captured with the rudimentary type of equipment that she had way back when. Ghostbuster went to the blood. I really enjoyed going there. It was fun. It's something we enjoy to do together. Ironically, as I always leave you all for our mediumship moment, is that I went back the next night. Now, that
She couldn't get enough.
yeah, well, a friend and colleague, Cindy Kaza, amazing medium, who also does paranormal investigations. You've seen her in Holzer File, Dead Files. She's got a Netflix special out. I mean, she's just an amazing, well-grounded, amazing medium. And I surprised her. And I bought tickets last minute, swear to God, like 6:15.
Craig's like, "You're back."
Yeah, exactly. And the director there was in the fort, in the soldiers, the officers' quarters, where she was doing an event. And I'll tell you what, the mediumship moment, it was great. I always love to see other mediums work. It's interesting. There's not many of us that do it professionally. She's always on the road. I didn't know when I could see her and put my arms around her. Truth be told, we've talked on the phone and texted. I had never met her face to face, so this was a great chance to do it. She opens up her mediumship gallery. She talks to several angels, and she turns and she looks at me. She goes, "Kim, I think I got your mom here." And I'm like, "Oh, good luck." Joan was a force of nature. Joan came through, gave love and messages, very specific messages about my two brothers, my two younger brothers. My father came through, and he was with Jimmy. Jimmy was his brother who preceded him 35 years prior. So I was just absolutely thrilled to watch a medium work in such a amazing energy. Water is always great for lifting this type of communication. To watch Cindy Kaza, an amazing medium, work and be able to channel my mom and dad, I'm forever grateful. As we sing here at Mediumship Moments, keep chatting with your angels because they can hear you.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time for another episode of Mediumship Moments. If you enjoyed this episode of Kim's podcast, check her out on Instagram and TikTok at Kim Durham Medium.